Hey everyone, welcome to the first ever episode of Worldwide Marketer, a podcast that seeks to spark authentic and meaningful conversations with marketers from all over the world. Today we'll be having Siddhant Aneja, where we will be talking about his journey within the DTC and advertising agency space, all the way from New Delhi, India. Welcome to the pod, Sid. Before we get started, I would love to give Sid a chance to introduce himself.
Hey, thanks for having me here. It's a great privilege to be here at your podcast for the first episode. So guys, yes, hi, my name is Siddhant Aneja. I've been an entrepreneur. I have been an affiliate marketer. I'm running an agency right now in Delhi, and we have around 25 to 30 clients right now that we're servicing, more or less into the DTC space that we'll be talking about, I think, with the more about that. Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for the brief introduction as well, Sid. Can I call you Sid?
Yeah, of course, you can call me anything you want.
Alrighty. Okay, just to make it easier for me to say it as well.
Yes.
So I'd like to know about what got you started into the DTC space. Like what got you started in this particular area?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So, going back to, let's say, 2014, I was into the offline market. I was running my kitchenware brand, right? If you know about the Indian market, the offline market or the retail market is something which is very huge in India. And that's when the online space started to come up. The Amazon, Flipkart, and all, they started to venture into the market, and then it started to pick up pace in around 2014. Yeah. So that's when I launched a jewelry and an apparel brand with a couple of my friends. The brand name, I'm not going to say that, but there was just a brand that we sold in the next 2 years. So that was my first introduction to the e-commerce space. And I heard this saying which impacted me a lot, which said, you have to make money while you are asleep, and that's when
Yeah,
you become rich. So that
yeah,
influenced me a
true.
lot. And I thought that, e-commerce is something that can help you do that. That's when we ventured into that space. And 2 years, it took a lot of time to build the catalog, took a lot of time to build the brand and to set it off. In 2016, we sold that off. We went our own ways. In 2016, then I launched my own watch brand. Thanks to my family, my father there, because my father and grandfather have been into the watch business since the last 20, 30 years now. So they have the know-how and, everything, how the watches are made and everything. So that's when I started to venture into that. I built out a brand by the name of WatchMe. It's still running on the major marketplaces in India. And that was my first step towards a sole entrepreneur journey that I started. And yeah, I mean, that was the first bite of e-commerce that I had. And the only reason why I ventured into watches was because I had understood two things that sell well in the e-commerce space, especially in India, because it was an upcoming space. So initially, the price point has to be very low. It doesn't
Yep.
have to be too high. By high, I mean, let's say $50, $100. It doesn't have to be very high, because the confidence of people in India was not a lot on e-commerce at that point of time. I'm talking about
Right.
2016. So they were not, happy risking a lot of money there for the initial purchase. So that's the point one that came into my mind, that I have to venture into something that is not very expensive. Something in the range of, let's say, $20, $30. you know so that was one part of it. The other part was that I had to get something which was not very volumetric, because
Cool.
the logistics take a lot of our cost. And if my
Right.
product is at a very low cost and logistics is at a very high cost, that messes it up. So both of
True.
these things have to be there. So that's why I ventured into something that was cheap, as well as something that was, volumetrically very small. So watches fitted into both the criterias.
Like easy to transport, right? Is that what
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah, yeah.
Right. I'm wondering, is there any specific areas that you started off in? Could it be the New Delhi, India, for example? Is it due to the high adoption of in the internet, or is there
Hmm.
any areas that you started off for your Watch Me brand?
So when we started e-commerce, we were present on all the major marketplaces. So I'm talking about Myntra, I'm talking about Amazon, I'm talking about Flipkart. So these have had a high penetration in India in terms of the market. So let's talk about So if we talk about India as a geography, uh,
Yeah.
the major or the chunk buyers would come from the tier 2 and tier 3 towns. You know,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So like 70 to 80% of the population is residing in these cities, on the smaller cities, not the metros, not the major cities.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
that is where the main buyer is. And that
For your
is,
market, right? Like,
yes, that is the market. And that's why we took an inexpensive product, because we knew we could cater to these people, in the
right.
masses. So we could send out volumes of products. We could do business in bulk, maybe. We could sell a lot of things, maybe at a smaller margin, but the numbers were huge. So that was the reason we targeted Amazon and the marketplaces, because they knew the market and it was very untapped, talking about 2016. So that gave us a good push uh, in terms of marketing and the sales and everything. And that's when we launched two other brands, uh, which were maybe complementing the brand that we already had, WatchMe. So we launched TimeSmith. That's another brand that was into a slightly premium segment. And then we launched Greywood. That's a wallet brand, a leather wallet brand. So the wallets and watches tried to complement each other. So we had the same banner in terms of the brand store, but we had different products. So that's what we tried to do. Yeah.
So you guys are pivoting from a single product store towards introducing more variety, so to kind of enhance your competitive advantage, right? So to
Yes.
get out of just, oh, they do watches. What's your ultimate goal of this e-commerce brand, though? What's your vision for this?
So initially, when we started out, there was not a lot of competition there. In
Yeah.
2018-19, a lot of people came into the picture. That's when we started to pivot. That's when we launched these other brands. And the important factor what was that we were able to complement the brands together. Let's say I had 200 SKUs, in my
Yeah.
kitty. So with the addition of these two brands, I was able to, cross sell all of these together. Like I could sell a watch with a wallet. So with 200 SKUs, I was able to make, let's say, 5,000 SKUs, in the next 2 months.
All right.
So that gave me a push in terms of the marketplaces as well. So I was having more of the property. That's what we call on the home page, on the product page. We were acquiring more of the properties, because let's say WatchMe TimeSmith had 5,000 SKUs and the other brands
Yeah.
had like 200 SKUs, so that gave us a lot of push there. So that's what we focused on increasing the catalog size, on giving the most benefit out of whatever we had to the customers.
So that's the angle of, like, by leveraging your first mover advantage, you
Yeah,
capitalize it and expand your catalog so you can take up as much space as possible in Amazon, Flipkart, whatever
absolutely
marketplace you're
correct.
operating. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
So it's more like volume first to the market, and you kind of take advantage of that and scale it up by introducing more products, more variety to make sure more people know about your brand,
exactly.
regardless of what product they're buying.
Yeah.
Right, I see. So that kind of answers the question I have is, besides that, is there any other factors you think makes brands stand out and become the top 10 seller on the portals besides the primary
Absolutely. So
keywords?
this is, I'm talking about pre-pandemic era.
Right, yeah, of course.
Post-pandemic era is completely different. Like these are two sides of the same coin.
Of the coin?
Yeah.
All right.
So it's completely different now. Initially, a lot of people wanted to, have that confidence in the brands, have that confidence in the marketplaces. During the pandemic, a lot of people shifted to online sales in India,
Mm,
because everything was closed down,
yeah.
the markets were closed down. Everybody had their first chance of buying things online, which gave them a lot of confidence. Post the pandemic era, a lot of brands have come up which are more quality centric, you know.
Okay.
So people are
See.
ready to invest, people are ready to spend in the market. They just have to have a good product. They are not concerned about the pricing anymore. They're not scared about spending, a lot of money on the products that they haven't seen touched right now. So that has changed now, which has impacted our brand as well after the pandemic, because initially a lot of focus was on the pricing part. They were okay with the
Yeah.
quality. If it's not great, I'm okay with that. Trying out new things, or
Because it's cheap,
experimenting.
right?
It's
Yeah,
cheap. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I don't care about it.
I know.
If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, right? Now they know e-commerce companies work very well. There's a return policy in India. You can return the product, and then there's uh, an RTO thing as well. Return to origin thing. I'm not too sure if you
Oh,
so because the main problem in India is cash on delivery for
yes.
the
Okay.
sellers.
That's what I want to know as well. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
so I'll come to that as well. But before going any further, I like to just clear that point that a lot of people have had the confidence now and they're ready to invest in more or quality stuff. So they're okay with
Yeah.
buying expensive things online. And so that's where the mind shift has changed to post pandemic. So now it's more about the quality rather than the price.
Right, that's interesting. And I just want to touch on as well when you mentioned during your pre-pandemic era, because people are not confident in shopping online,
Mm.
it's not tangible, so they choose cash on delivery.
Mm.
I'm wondering, does that pose a lot of challenge to your business in
Ah,
terms of cash flow as well?
it's a killer. It's a
Right.
killer for the brands.
Wow.
So I'll tell you about my scenario.
Yeah.
I started my own website for my watch brand, and I had to shut it down just because of this reason, RTOs.
Oh wow.
Because we get around 40 to 50% RTOs if it's your own website. Because this is an impulse buy. So if I'm talking about watches, it's an impulse buy, right? People just
Yeah,
see that they want
correct.
to buy it. It's not very expensive. It's
Yeah, it's
like
cool.
10, $15. I'm just going to buy that. They just buy that. Within a
Yeah.
day, the mood changes and they don't want to buy it anymore. Whenever the packages come, they're like, I don't want it. And it comes back to us. So we have to pay for the shipping charges to and fro. So
Ooh.
it's like sending out 100 packages per day, 50 are getting returned, and you're incurring double shipping cost on that. So that's no way profitable.
Ooh.
You know.
Right.
So
Especially you're operating a razor thin margin, right? Is that
yes,
right?
so
For your
the margins have become thinner now, especially after the pandemic, and since a lot of people have ventured into online spaces. So that has something that has happened. But then again, it has a lot to do with the shift of mentality as well. I was targeting tier two towns, tier two
yeah.
cities, tier three cities. So a lot of people there are not, of course, they are price sensitive, but at the same
Yeah.
point of time, they have a lot of options. You know, if
Mm.
you're a quality product, the buyer, would be again something who's very serious about buying things. Nobody
Right.
who is just surfing through the internet will buy, something that is a product worth $200 or $100. You know, so
Yes.
that is something that people have to be serious about, as opposed to something that is like $10, $15. So RTO is something which kills the brand, especially in the lower price range. Something that
Mm.
you're selling for
Got you.
cheap, RTOs would be a killer for you because you'll have to calculate the cost of to and fro. And even if the marketplaces we are talking about, even for Amazon or Flipkart or the Mintras, we get
Yeah.
around 30% RTOs on a regular basis.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Is that the benchmark you would say to expect even post pandemic as well, or has it been changed compared to pre and post pandemic?
It has actually increased in the
Oh.
recent past because a lot of people now know the loophole. So it's very, I mean, Indians are known to be, something that can work around a loophole. So
Right.
they want
They
every
got smart.
opportunity. So we have a lot of customers who use watches, who order watches or apparels in that way for a specific event, and then there's a return window of 10 days, so they return it after wearing that. Yeah,
Oh.
so that is
Right.
something which is very common in India. That is something which is a pain point in India, and that's why I always suggest my clients to go for a premium product because the customer that you cater to would also be premium or a serious buyer.
Right. So it's less likely for them to, oh, you know what? I can't afford it anyways. I'm just gonna return it. I'm just
Exactly.
gonna use it for event.
Yeah.
Right. That's very interesting to hear. I'm wondering for the ecom side. So you have mentioned about tier one, tier two, tier three. I'm wondering, is that total of three tiers? Like in India, like is
Yeah.
that the advertising landscape
Yeah.
currently?
That is the advertising landscape. But tier one, tier two is somewhere now coming together because we're getting a lot of
Oh,
serious buyers in tier two cities as well, especially after the launch of like 5G is coming up. Then
yeah,
if you know about Reliance, they're launching this very cheap laptop for like $200 or something, and a good one. So a lot of accessibility would increase in the coming times, and which has
yeah.
already been a great closing factor if I have to say so, in the last couple of years, because we've seen a lot of serious and high purchase value buyers from the tier two towns coming up.
Right. And I have a question as well regarding the logistics as well. Since for the shipping wise in India, since it's such a big country and spans so wide,
Yeah.
what's the shipping times that you guys would normally guarantee? Would it be similar to Amazon's 7-day delivery or the next day delivery? Can that be applied?
So there are specific channel partners that you can tie up with in India. Like there's Shiprocket, there's Picker, there's again Amazon is there. Like you can tie up with these partners. You can have your warehouses set up in cities. So let's say if I'm talking about Delhi, I'm in Delhi, right? And if you are a seller, somebody in Bombay, right? You can place your products in a warehouse in Delhi, you know. So there are two different things. Like I can do that for my own website as well. I can do that while selling on Amazon as well. So there are specific centers, fulfillment centers that can help you out in delivery of your products. A lot of people are still trying to do that, but normally if I am selling something from Delhi, I am sending something from Delhi to, let's say, Bangalore, it will take somewhere around 5 days to get there, 4 to 6 days, somewhere between that. So the logistics system is something which is very solid now. I mean, the framework has been set up, so it's pretty good now.
Right, because I was thinking that given that India is such a big country, logistics when it comes to guaranteeing shipping times must be a hassle, since you have to make sure so many partners work together to make it happen. And
the tracking is something which is very efficient in India. So let's say, for example, I ordered something on what date is it today?
5th
yes,
of October.
So I ordered something on 25th of September, and I have that with me on 30th September, and it came all the way from Bangalore. So I mean, yeah, roughly again 5 days. It took 5 days for them, and that's a private website, not an Amazon.
Oh, wow! Even with private website, it can get to that within a 7-day shipping time.
Absolutely, yes.
Because again,
it is very important, because the RTO thing is a pain point for everyone. If it takes you too late, if you're not getting your notifications on WhatsApp of the tracking, where is the package, and we get that every day from the transporters. Because if we don't do that, again, the RTO goes high. A lot of people, they forget about it. They're not interested. They don't know when the package is coming. So it goes back.
They get frustrated, right?
Yeah. So if the timeline is too long, like if I'm ordering something today and it's going to come to me in the next 14 days, I don't want that, that's I mean, we've been spoiled by Amazon now. We want everything within the next day. I mean, there are startups which have come up, the grocery startups, hyper-local startups that deliver within 10 minutes.
Wow, that's fast.
Yes.
How can you guys even compete with them?
Zepto is one startup that you can check out, ZEPTO. It delivers within 10 to 12 minutes of you ordering. So, I mean, that's how spoiled we've become with the choices that
so you're saying that last mile delivery is scaling up, like really growing big
it's
in
huge,
India.
Especially in the last, I mean, again, after the pandemic, the landscapes have changed.
Right.
It has become immensely tough for the brands to come up with innovative ideas, because every pain point is being solved right now in India with these startups. Yeah.
I'm wondering, before pandemic, what are the pain points that were there, and what are the pain points have been solved? Maybe you could share it for the listeners out there who are interested in the e-com but very new, no idea what's going on whatsoever.
So in terms of pandemic, how do I say? Do I talk about as a customer or do I talk about as a seller?
I would say as a seller as well for this case.
Okay, as a seller, again, there was not a lot of competition in the market, because a lot of people were still into the offline market. And even now, I think it's just 5 to 7% of the sales that is happening online in India. The rest is still offline, and it's a big chunk of sales we're talking about. Yeah, and but yeah, I mean, the players were not there. The competition wasn't there. We were having a good margin to play around with. There was a pre-pandemic thing, and then again, when we ran ads, it worked. Again, because the CPMs were not very high. So a lot of things put into place. Everything was nice. Everything was great. Post-pandemic, a lot of options have come up. A lot of offline sellers have closed their shops and they've ventured into online space. Now they want to sell their own products. So the people that we were sourcing from, they are selling online right now. So,
Oh,
a lot of things have
that's
changed
good.
there, but it's better for the customers because they're getting a good price out of it. The demographics have increased in terms of the target market. Uh, and again, I think the uh, the customer convenience has taken the next level. It has gone up a notch in the last 2 years or so because of the convenience that we can have. We can order everything, sitting at home. We don't have to go out. The offline market has dipped a lot. Uh, that is a problem. But then, as an online customer, it's a great time for us to be shopping online. As an online seller, not so much because no, I'm talking about in my category, let's say.
Yeah,
Again, because
it's
the
all good.
customer psychology has changed. They're more inclined towards premium products or maybe expensive products that they can spend money on, but they want to have the quality out of it. So maybe that is
Right.
something that has changed, which is good for the market as well.
Would you say that India as a market for this case, when it comes to buying products,
Yeah.
would you say that, for example, I saw, let's say for China's case, previously they were very Western focused, like they love Western products, they love everything about Western.
Mm-hmm.
But after the pandemic, it seems like a lot of people are going towards shopping local and
Mm-hmm.
less supporting local products. I'm wondering, is that similar in India's case as well, where you guys might start off thinking, oh, everything Western products are awesome, but now you guys be like, oh, wait a minute, actually we can do it ourselves. Is that the similar trend in India?
It is, but it is something that has been pushed upon us by the government.
Oh,
So
I see.
that there's a campaign which was launched maybe 4 5 years earlier. It said "Make in India." So a lot of imports from China was banned. A lot of people who used to order from Alibaba, AliExpress, so
Yep.
these are all banned in India
Dropshippers.
now. Yeah, 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 yeah. So it's all banned
Mm.
in India. They don't, I mean, obviously they are getting stuff, but only the serious ones. So we used to shop a lot from AliExpress, all these Western products and everything, apparels that you're talking about. So there was a dearth of options at that time, but in the last 2 3 years, due to this campaign, a lot of manufacturing has built up in India. A lot of
Yep.
products are, I mean, of course, if I have to be honest, it's not at the same level as what we get from China. It's expensive and the quality is also not that great. But that
Makes sense.
is, yeah, that is what has actually happened. And although I'm not a big fan of the products that are being manufactured here, but that is something that is being done at a volume, at a scale, you know. Uh, so yeah, I mean, the psychology of customers has been changed. It has been forced to change. So if given a chance, I'm sure a lot of them would still want what they were getting 10 years back, but then they
Now
don't
it's
have an
more
option.
freer.
Yes, absolutely. So, but then they don't have an option right now.
Wow, that's interesting to hear as well, to see that India has gone through that path. I think it's good as well to encourage local businesses to thrive, but that means lack of competition and could
It is, but
go
I
the
think
other
it also
way.
has to do with a lot of politics. I mean, they banned TikTok as well in India. A lot of people don't know about that, so that's another thing
Right.
to be talked about. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I would say, yeah, because given that India was so diverse as well, it must be hard when it comes to promoting a product as well, right? I'm wondering how would you guys ever navigate and target the segments, like because people speak different languages, and
Hmm.
like, when you're promoting a product, do you use English or do you use any other? What sort of way do you guys navigate around that?
So we're talking about Amazon.
Yeah, for example, listing out the products, descriptions, like what sort of
So,
ways do you guys do
I
it?
mean, everything we list in English. I mean, we have an option of how we want to list it in the regional language, and then the people that want to buy, I'm talking about the customers, when they open the app, they
Yep.
have an option of choosing the language they want to shop in. So, let's say if somebody wants to shop in Hindi, somebody wants to shop in Bengali, somebody wants to shop in English, they will have the whole interface, and everything changes according to that. So that's something that
Oh.
we don't really get into. We just put in the information in one language, and then Amazon does everything automatically.
Oh, that's good to hear. I thought you guys had to sit there and manually translate everything,
No,
list
no,
it
no,
up.
no.
That would be quite a hassle.
As I said, it's been very convenient now.
Oh, that's good. I'm wondering, given the current landscape right now, is there any interesting consumer insights that you think the listeners would be able to benefit from it? Or
Yeah,
could be regional based, could be language based. How is it like?
no, as I said, go for the quality now.
Right.
Build your own brand, uh, focus on your own website as well, because we've seen a lot of cases, especially with our clients, where the brands were doing very well on Amazon, and
Yep.
they were amongst the top 5 sellers, top 3 sellers, and then your account gets banned for no reason whatsoever. They're not able to reinstate that, and 2 months down the line, we see that Amazon has come up with the same product. So that is something that we've heard about a lot, that we've seen a lot. So always focus on both the platforms, on Amazon, on marketplaces, on your own website as well. But at the same time, go for the quality. I think there's a lot of quality buyers out there, and that's one mistake that I would like to change again from my journey. That I would like to pivot from a price-centric product to a quality product. That is something that I would like you to keep in mind whenever we're launching a product, or doing a brand.
Right. So that would be the number one sort of insight. You would say quality, it's not quantity anymore.
Absolutely.
More people are getting smarter.
Yeah.
They know the rules. They know the shipping terms. They were as smart as
Absolutely.
you think, and then they were totally going to outrun you if you are not paying attention.
Which is true. Yeah. So we have a lot of brands that are selling premium products at a premium price, which we wouldn't have thought anybody would buy, but they have a loyal fan base. They have a loyal customer base who are coming back and making repeat purchases because they love the brand. They don't care about the
Right.
pricing anymore. They understand the tag that comes with that, So the psychology is all changed now.
Oh, that is good to hear as well. Like just to see that there's shift in psychology, but
Yeah.
it's for the better of customers as well. They know their rights,
Yeah,
and they would prevent themselves from being exploited by
absolutely.
sellers as well, like with ridiculous shipping. And you guys could just throw a review that it's bad, and then they just all went down.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, that's good to hear as well. There is something I would like to ask as well is what would be the one advice you would give to fellow listeners for especially beginners if they want to venture into the Indian market as an e-com brand itself?
See, as an e-com brand, it's very important that you stand out.
Yeah,
You stand out, you listen to your customers. I think that is the end goal, and that is the make or break that happens. If you're not listening to your customers, if you're listening to your own mind, I think it only goes till a certain way. But then read out the reviews that are coming on the website. Why is it that the products are not selling? So we always tell about 4 things that help you in a brand, when you're going into e-commerce. One would be the product. The product has to be something which has to be in demand. You cannot sell something that is not wanted by anybody. Product is one. Price is the second part. It doesn't have to be exorbitantly priced, unless you're having a monopoly in the market, unless you're offering something yet that nobody is having. So in that way, price, product. Third comes trust. There has to be a lot of trust that is shown around the brand. People should be buying that. People should be using that. And the fourth is the journey. So the journey, I mean the website. So if 4 things are intact for you, I think nobody can stop you from getting a sale. I think the brand is bound to be a hit. So product, price, trust, and the journey. It has to be very smooth.
right. That's good to hear as well. You kind of summarize it in just product, price,
Yeah.
journey, and also
Trust.
the trust as well.
Yeah.
Trust. I think trust is a solid factor right now.
It is.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm wondering if I wanted to go into the DTC space in India. Is there any sort of thought leaders that I should follow and check out as well to learn from them in the social media space that we can follow?
See, there are a lot coming up. I think the content, the creators economy has just come up in the last year or so, and it is huge. So if you're talking about e-commerce space or DTC space, I think Twitter is the right way. Twitter is the best place to be at in terms of understanding the market. And specifically, if you want to talk about the Indian market, I think I won't be able to name a single person or a couple of person because everyone has their own USPs and their point of views that they come out with, and you get to learn something from everyone in there. So it's very important that you follow different people, because somebody's talking about, let's say, analytics, somebody's talking about Facebook ads, somebody's talking about Google ads, somebody's talking about the DTC space, somebody's talking about the fundings and the valuations. So it's a whole different game altogether when you talk about these things. There's no one specific that I like to name in this, but there are a lot of people that I learn from on a daily basis.
Okay, that's good. So the Twitter platform would be definitely something that we should hop onto to learn from people, to know from people from all around
Yeah.
India, to share their insights of how do they venture into e-com space themselves in different spaces. Like
True.
for example, the funding and creating product fit, something like that.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, this marks the part 1 of our recording. And tune in next time when me and Sid will talk about our journey and his journey in particular into the advertising space. See ya, guys.